Shalom. Call Aloyim Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, the great millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. I just wanted to make a quick video in exhortation to keep your mind on the kingdom of heaven, keep our minds, I should say, including myself, on the kingdom of heaven. And really the Spirit gave this to me because when you get down to it, everything in this life, at least from a carnal perspective, is nothing more than a distraction that could keep our mind off the kingdom of heaven, which would lead us down the wrong path. You think about all these different enchantments that are happening globally, but really just in Babylon the Great right now, with them pushing P. Diddy out there and what's going on with him and the entire entertainment world. Now they're talking about other rappers and different stars going down with him. And yeah, all that is cool, and you can potentially tie it into, the wickedness that's happening in the world. Sure, we get that, right? But it's really just an enchantment to distract us from what's going on in terms of prophecy, right? With the micro CHIP and different laws and bills that this man Esau has planned, right? And different, really Jacob's trouble that's being orchestrated right now, the famine that's happening around the world. Also, they throwing down your throat, Nickelodeon, and I forget the director's name, Dan or whatever his name is, pushing that out there. I mean, yeah, it's important and you can tie it in, but ultimately just a distraction at the end of the day, because Esau is going to take these different things and he's going to do something behind the scenes and throw in some kind of law or different regulation so that he can further push his plans. And then even on a personal, individual perspective, Satan messes with you and you go through different trials and tribulations, right? Maybe you got car issues, maybe your rent just increased, now you got to find a new one, or you're having issues with your woman, or maybe your boss is getting on your nerves, right? You got to put in a little bit of overtime and you get tired, right? After you get off work. All these things is just Satan ultimately trying to distract you, no matter what, because his goal is to take you further and further out of the truth. The way to do that is to distract you by putting things in your way that make it seem like, oh, this is too hard for me. I got to focus on this first, what's right in front of me, and then I'll get back to that Bible stuff. Now, all of a sudden, you don't even recognize it, but you're slowly drifting further and further out of the truth. All because of all these different distractions. So that's the main focus of this video, is to not think about these things and recognize them when they're here, so that you can keep your eyes single, which ultimately means keeping your mind focused on the kingdom of heaven. So this is Matthew 6, verse 22. It says, actually, we're going to read this in the NLT, that's why I have it up. On the right-hand side, it says, your eye is a lamp that provides light for your body. Obviously, from a physical perspective, if you have good vision, you can see. Now you know which path to walk down. If you see some goddamn pit bulls and some, bulldogs and they're open, you're going to go they're out in the open. You're going to walk, probably run in the opposite direction, right? You know where to go. You're on the right path. When your eye is good, your whole body is filled with light. But when your eye is bad, your whole body is filled with darkness. And if the light you think you have is actually darkness, how deep that darkness is. Right? So once again, breaking down verse 23 on the physical perspective, when your eye is bad, right, that means you can't see. Either you're fully blind or you got terrible vision. You can barely see. Maybe you can only see certain images. You can see black and white, gray, whatever, right? But now your body is filled with darkness. If your eye is bad, if you don't have any vision, you're blind. You can't see. So what does this mean from a spiritual perspective now? Well, If your eye is bad, that means you're obviously looking at something from the wrong lens, which means that you're down the wrong path. If you're looking at all these different distractions, if you're thinking about your trials and your tribulations and how hard that is, and if you're looking at the entertainment world too much, if you get consumed in the enchantments happening in the world, now spiritually you're not on the right path. Your body is filled with darkness. Now you're not occupied in prophecy. Now you're not praying enough. Now you're not reading enough. You're not thinking about the kingdom of heaven. Right? But if the light that is inside of you, or we should say when your eye is good, when you have good vision, now the light that's filled with your body is actually knowledge. It's wisdom. It's understanding. Now you are thinking about prophecy. Now you are keeping your mind on the kingdom of heaven. When these distractions come in the way, you're able to process it accordingly and take the proper course of action. Oh, okay, that's why X, Y, and Z is happening. All right, that's cool. But now let me continue thinking about the kingdom. So yeah, we see these things happening, right? Like months ago, I believe, let's just call it fall last year, maybe winter as well last year, you had the whole thing that was pushed out there with Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez, he's a rapper, Meg Thee Stallion, right? Another rapper. About the whole thing, he shot her, whatever, who knows if he did it, probably didn't. Now the man's locked up. But that went on for months. Just an enchantment. That's all it is. Pushing that out there so that the masses, really our people, get distracted. Same thing with, what's that, the actor's name? And Amber Heard. I think it's Amber Heard. Jim Carrey, I think. Right? Their whole huge trial. No, Johnny Depp, I believe. One of them. I'm tripping. It's one of them. But that whole different trial, and it was entertaining, and I followed it for the most part in the beginning, and then it was just drawn out. It was too long, and I'm like, you know what, forget this. Just more enchantments. That's all. So remember to keep your eyes single and keep your mind on the kingdom of heaven. You don't want to drift away, and all of a sudden you start doing less things that build up your spirit. This is the book of Colossians. If I can find it, chapter 3 and verse 2. In the King James on the left, it says, set your affection on things above, not on things on earth. In the NLT on the right, it says, think about the things of heaven, not the things of earth. Why? Because it's a distraction and it doesn't matter. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to 100% perfectly walk in the spirit and only be thinking about prophecies 24/7. Like, no, we know that doesn't exist. Nobody can do that. We're not Yahweh Shai. We don't have a perfect spirit. It's not going to happen. But for the most part, majority of the time, the Bible does say, be occupied in prophecy. And when we get together, we should be speaking about the laws, about prophecies, about the kingdom of heaven, about the goodly things to come. Even Yahweh Shai said it out of his mouth. He said, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Meaning it's close. It's very, very close. And as a matter of fact, the scriptures talk about redeeming the time. Right here, Ephesians 5:16. As a matter of fact, we'll read verse 15 as well. I'll read in the King James. See then that you walk circumspectly. And what does that mean? When you're circumspect, you're watching. You're watching your whereabouts all around you. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Redeeming the time means exactly what it says in the NLT for verse 16, making the most of every opportunity because these days are evil. But verse 15 says what? To work circumspectly. To walk, let me slow down, circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Because a fool is going to be getting distracted like a squirrel. Every single little sound, every little movement just jumping around, head up, eyeballs everywhere, right? All on social media for 8 hours a day like it's a full-time shift. Scrolling on TikTok for hours. Next thing you know, 3 hours and gone by. You done looked at some BS for 3 hours. Just wasting time, not being disciplined. All right, we can't let that happen to us. That would make you a fool. No, but we're supposed to be walking circumspectly, wise, being wise, using wisdom, meaning you're supposed to be redeeming these times, keeping your mind on the kingdom of heaven and being occupied in prophecy. This is how you continue to watch and not be caught off guard. There's more precepts, but we're at 10 minutes and this video doesn't need to be made long at all. Just a quick exhortation, that's all. Keep your mind on the kingdom of heaven. Everything we're going through is a light affliction, and it's ultimately a distraction. So recognize it when it happens, recognize these distractions, and keep your eyes single. So call Haloyim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakak Dash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Salakia. Something in my car. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.